afternoon, everyone. We're going to start this press conference. First, there will be a turn of questions for Sergio Ramos, player of Real Madrid, and then coach Carlo Ancelotti. Remember, please, one question per intervention. And before asking the question, identify yourselves and the media you work for. Questions for Sergio Ramos? Good afternoon, Sergio. There were news of the meeting that you had with the coach, all of the squad. I would like to know what conclusions you have drawn and to explain why the reasons for this bad commencement of the season. Well, the meeting, there's no reason to talk about it or give it any more importance than it actually has. You know, in the Samsa Santillana, Juanito, Camacho, Pirri, there were things of this sort happening as well. So I think having a meeting is the most normal thing in the world, within a team, within a changing room, and any conclusions that we've drawn are always positive. You know, we talk about everything pretty much. Of course, we don't tell, because this is part of our internal way of dealing with things, you know, to do with the footballers, the coaches, and I can't add anything to it, but just like we've had, you know, good times, we've also had meetings, and no one's ever even mentioned that, no one's talked about them. So perhaps now, because people talk about a crisis because of the starts that the team has had, you know, this is something usual in all teams, and it's always good to talk about things, to say things to our faces, and anything that we need to say. On Saturday against Atletico Madrid, we saw a bit of a mess going on in the team. What's been happening? Are you not clear about the football-related concepts? What's happening to the team for you all not to be playing well? Well, I wish I knew, and I hope we get to find out soon, as reliably as we can, because at the beginning of the pre-season, you know, the matches that we played with the system that the coach told us to use were good, and people were feeling fairly comfortable. Perhaps now we need to be closer than ever because of the situation that we're going through. And it's true that the team, we're not playing as well as we could. We're playing badly. People perhaps don't feel comfortable with this respect, but no one questions the fact that Real Madrid will be up there again, because we have this vocation and we have a great team from my point of view, and little by little we will be coming back up, and no one will doubt that Real Madrid will will intend to win the 3 titles. The season's very long, and of course we're going through a special time, perhaps crisis, you can call it that. We have had a series of matches that haven't been very good at all, but I prefer this, to have it right now and not halfway through the season or towards the end when you're playing for the titles. So I hope this will be a learning curve to require more of ourselves and to go forward and do better. But no one should make things up really or tell stories in a negative light, because the team is closer than ever. There's a great atmosphere in the changing room and a coach that we're all very happy with. So the results will be seeing the light, you'll see. These last couple of days, you said that perhaps there was a lack of attitude. I don't think there was a lack of attitude in the field, but perhaps adapting to the coach's system, perhaps it's not as understandable. You know, perhaps now playing a more elaborate system compared to the counter-attack we had before, is that difficult? Well, obviously we need to get results. That's what's missing. Football is all about results, and when we don't win, that's when all debates start to happen. So there's plenty of things that we have to improve. Slowly, we players, and I'm the first one to say so, we need to find our best moment. Perhaps we'll see our top condition at some point in the performance and the way the team play. and we'll see how hopefully we will play better. People will have more trust in us, and perhaps all of this pressure that we've had at the beginning, this has probably made people have concerns, but this is when we should be as close as possible, give each other a lot of affection and support so that we can come out of this stronger. And of course the result will come back, and Real Madrid will be a winning team as it has been throughout its history. I would like you to imagine a year ago with perhaps a more complicated start of the league. What differences are there, in terms of the atmosphere in the changing room a year ago and now? Well, past and present. It would be a mistake to speak about the past today. We need to talk about the present and respond to that. We are very lucky to be where we are. We are privileged to be able to give everything to defend Real Madrid, the best team in the history of football. And nowadays you don't win just because of the badge you got on. You need to show things. You need to require and be demanding with yourself. And this is the right way we're taking. And hopefully we will, recover this image that we have worldwide and be more comfortable with our work. And as we feel and do this, more and more results will come along, because when the atmosphere, the sacrifice and the ideas are all along the same lines, all of this is taken the same way, then things end up working out. What's noticeable in the last, perhaps not Elche, but you definitely after the derby against, a few players have attributed themselves a lot of the blame, and many of them have defended the coach. I'm not sure whether because of your meeting yesterday. Well, the point of the meeting is not important. I think at the end of the day, the effectiveness it can have is something very positive, and as Chris said in his day, considering the last game, we're absolutely, 100% behind our coach. We're all responsible for what happens. The coach is, of course, the one to pick the first 11, to, change the substitutes. Of course, he has a certain degree of responsibility, but so do we, to, in responding when we are on the pitch. So we have to be all together, be behind each other, and take positive conclusions. The negatives we can see clearly, and it's surrounding us. So we can't let it influence what we do, and it shouldn't change our attitudes. You said that the players need affection. The Bernabeu Stadium were very angry. What would you ask of people ahead of tomorrow? Well, it's normal because you play here. For those of us who have been here for longer, we know how demanding our fans are. And of course we understand this. We all like to win, and the fans do too. They're used to seeing their team play very, very well. So it's positive for them to be expecting things of you, because that means that they trust the team, that they know that we can give a lot more of ourselves. And this is what we're doing at the moment. We're trying to excite everyone as much as possible, for them to feel identified with what we do and the shirt that we carry with such pride. And this is what we're trying to do. After Bernabeu told off Benzema, and also following the problem with Pepe, I would like you to tell me how you see Karim, and how if it's true that Pepe asked for his forgiveness, and whether he accepted his apology. Well, I think the least important thing here is what the people can think. I think, as I said before, what happens in a changing room should stay there. And it's true that when there are issues to be resolved, then we have to do that. Whoever is right is the least of our problems. The main thing is for this to be resolved, and we're all here to help our teammates when they're not having great times, really. Karim obviously lives for the goal, and when he's not scoring, he gets criticised. But of course, he's one of the top strikers in the world. So if he's in a winning streak, no one ever doubts him. But it's true that people have whistled for against each one of us, and he's one of the top footballers in the world, and he knows what it is to feel the anger of the Bernabeu. It's not a pleasant thing, but it's a very demanding setting, and of course this is an added motivation to know as a person that you have to improve more. No one doubts him, but of course when streaks are better, things will be coming back. How is it possible that after a very good pre-season with very good results, good play, the team has taken so many steps back in football in terms, not so much in results, but except for the defeat against Atletico Madrid. What are the causes? Well, I don't think we can. I can't say that one thing is responsible for these things. It's the same players, same coach, same working, motto. Perhaps our own individual performance could be better. So this is what we are working on at the moment, trying to recover, confidence. Perhaps this is something important in this regard. Perhaps this has changed with respect of the system and the play. But this is the least of our problems. I think slowly confidence will come back, and this means that things start to change. When there's a good atmosphere, when there's closeness and togetherness, then things start to happen, and no one has any further questions. Last two questions. I don't know how you saw the statement of the coach saying that there was a lack of attitude. How did you feel when the coach publicly said that there was a lack of attitude in the team? Well, we shouldn't take things out of context. It's not a matter of the team lacking attitude. We always come out aiming to give it 100% and, to go home with a clear conscience. But football is a sport where anything can happen. Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. And I think the coach is pretty happy with the squad that they have. He, has trust in all of the players, and we trust each other, and we trust him as well. So I think when all of that, the important things are in there, I think results start to come. Copenhagen showed against Juventus that is a very dangerous team. What are you most worried about with regards to the Danish team? Well, at present, we would like to recover our image, to feel good in our own skin, and the best way to do this would be to speak directly from the pitch. Copenhagen is a rival that will be, has enough merit to be in the Champions League. And perhaps even if it's the least favourite or the underdog and perhaps the weakest team, I think in football you can't be overconfident, because any team could beat you, and this is something that's happened before. Teams that have made our life or our league very difficult, so they definitely deserve the utmost respect. Copenhagen Football Club has a very short history. I don't know whether it's 20 years, and they have very teams that are very good. So we have to come out with the utmost respect against every rival. So questions for Real Madrid coach, please. I wanted to ask you about that dinner yesterday with Jose Angel and Florentino, particularly if you asked them for another striker. No, I don't think anyone's bothered about who I'm dine or eat with as a private matter. I don't think it's anyone's business.
Question in English, if that's okay.
Sí, quiere hacer una pregunta en inglés.
Also because we lost the last game on Saturday, and we consider the next game a good opportunity to have a good reaction for this game, and so will be really important.
Hola, ¿qué tal, mister? Aquí.
I wanted to know, are there any differences between Ancelotti here on Saturday after the defeat against Atletico or what happened yesterday at the club? Are you the same? Are you more or less confident? How are you feeling at Real Madrid? I'm less happy, of course, because I feel that the match against Atletico was not great. We lost a derby match, and that's never a happy thing for us. We need to react soon. We need to have a quick reaction in terms of results and in terms of play. So at the moment I'm very confident in the players. I'm confident that we are going to have a good reaction. And this is why I think the match tomorrow is very important. Of course, it's a different competition. We started the Champions League well. I think the match tomorrow has a different meaning. Not only to, go along the same good path in the Champions League, but also to change our attitude, to change the spirit at this time.
That's okay.
We'll do one question, right?
Okay, I'll take one, yeah. Have you studied Copenhagen's games against Barcelona, Juventus and Chelsea earlier in Champions League before this match?
Yeah, we know Copenhagen because we played 3 years ago the last 16 of the Champions League. I think that more or less it's the same philosophy, the same system, the same manager. So we know everything. We know also that they are not doing well in the league, but they started well, playing a good game against Juventus. And of course, you have to pay attention for this kind of games. But as I said, it's a very good opportunity for us to have a good reaction.
Hola, Miguel Ángel.
I wanted to ask you if you think it's necessary to have a meeting for the meeting between the coaches and the team yesterday, and whether you think it's a good thing for the players to have this as an initiative. No, it wasn't an initiative from something that the players asked to have. I think at the moment it's important to have a dialogue, to know what every player is thinking about. Because we're all together. When things are good or bad, we stick together. The opinions of the players is something very, very important to me, to be able to better understand them and to be able to find a quick solution at that time.
Well, español. I'm doing a piece about the big gap between the big clubs here in Spain and some of the smaller ones. And I'd like to ask your opinion about whether there should be more of a debate in Spain about increasing competitiveness within the league in Spain, possibly renegotiating the TV rights, how they're negotiated here in Spain, to ensure that the league continues to compete with the likes of the Premiership.
It's very difficult to answer to this question because it's not my job to discuss about this. I'm involved technically and tactically in the games. Of course, the situation here is that there are really two great teams. There are Atletico Madrid, but I think that more or less is the same in the other countries. In Italy is the same, in Spain, in England more or less is the same. So, but to speak about the TV right, for me, it's not easy. I don't have the knowledge to speak about this.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes, Antonio.
There's been a lot of talk about the influence that Florentino Perez has in Carlo Ancelotti's decisions, in the decisions that Carlo Ancelotti makes. How do you take this, if you've ever heard it or read it? Out of the signings that the team has, Illaramendi, Isco, etc., which ones did you request personally? I think Florentino Perez is the most important person at Real Madrid. He has done a lot of things to bring me here. I think he's a very intelligent president that gives me every opportunity to be able to work as best as I can. The signings of players, whenever we are going to sign someone, is because everyone is in agreement over this. I think the signing of a certain player in the market was, the signings that we made this season were very good, because we got some very, very relevant players with a lot of skill. We see the history repeating with you. The same has happened with Paris Saint-Germain. with regards to difficulty in achieving the right results. Do you think tomorrow will be the time to take this, to make a statement and to move on from this situation? I think results were good because up until the last week, last week we didn't do well, everyone knows this, but before that all results were very good, and we played 8 official games. We won 5, we won 6, not at 5. 2 of them we drew and 1 we lost. The problem is that we haven't been able to play naturally. So when you change anything, as it happened last year, for example, at Paris Saint-Germain, it takes longer for players to use the system in a more natural way. I wanted to ask you if you see Alvaro Morata prepared to be the centre forward for Real Madrid, not only for a specific match but throughout the entire season, in the event that Morata has the ability to play as a centre forward for Real Madrid. That's the reason. What's the reason why he's in the squad and ready to play? Why not? I wanted to know if, following almost 3 months that you've been here, if you notice a difference between what you want in terms of play. You've spoken a lot about possession of the ball, and what your players can give you, which seems more geared towards a counter-attack. Are you having any doubts? Do you think you're going through the same path as the one you arrived from? Well, I think we can do more, because I think possession at the moment, we've lost a bit of balance, defensive balance particularly. We're a bit weaker defensively, and I think we need to quickly find our balance between this and possession. This has to be a continuous thing. So we need to have a lot more defensive balance. Recovery of the ball at the moment is not very good. So this is why we start at the back, a very compact team from this position, and this is why it's difficult to find an effective attacking solution. Sergio Ramos said that it's normal for the fans to be angry. I don't know whether you understand that perhaps they might be concerned about the way the team play. And are you particularly worried in any way? Well, in Italian, preoccupied means to take care of the problem in advance. So this is the situation with me. I need to sort this out because this is my responsibility. I will resolve it, and it's normal that the fans aren't happy about this, because obviously I can't be happy with the team. This is absolutely normal. And it's normal to have angry fans. This is a great motivation for us. And also for me particularly, because I would like Real Madrid fans to come to the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium to see a good football game by Real Madrid. The last couple haven't been good by Real Madrid, so it's normal, I understand. Following everything that's happened with Karim Benzema, how the Pepe told him off, and the public as well, would you tell us that he will be in the first 11 tomorrow? Why? And if he's on the bench, why? Well, I don't know. Nothing changes whether he plays or not, because Karim, as I've said before, at the moment I need to be able to give support to all of the players, and particularly those that are not, in tip-top condition. When I think of what Pepe did, said in the field, it's normal for people to speak up, because sometimes Perhaps, it's all in the heat of the moment during the game, so they have a specific way of talking. This is not a problem. Karim has perfectly understood this perfectly well. Pepe and Karim, this is not a problem for me. Tomorrow, if Karim plays, I think he will have a good game. I wanted to know why you can't manage to get the team to play well. Why they don't play. Why you can't manage to make them play well. Why you're not being successful. So why the team doesn't play well. The team aren't playing well because, as I said, I don't think we've changed a lot of things. I think at the moment possession isn't happening naturally. We need a lot more time to think, to propose a more effective play. And most of all, I think we've lost a little bit of defensive balance. But the team are going to play well, that's for sure, and very soon. Do you think that this squad needs some reinforcements? No, not at all. I have a very good squad. It's very good, and right at the moment perhaps they're not doing that well, but I'm very confident that all the players, as I've said before, and many times here, have been asked, if this is the strongest squad that I've ever had in my career. And I've said, I can't say this because I've had fantastic players before, but as I've also said before, I'm very happy with this squad. I think they need to play better, but this is my problem and I will fix it, as I said.